So there are a couple live discs that were released over the past couple of days, and I decided, okay, it's time to really dive into it. Now that they're available on Spotify, and we've heard a few of their teaser tracks on YouTube, we can finally get really into the music. So let's dive into the first one. Devil cracked the earthy shelf and told you was the one. You walked into the room and said you had to live before you die. Garden of the Titans, Opeth live at Red Rocks Amphitheatre. This particular set is showcasing their Sorceress album. So a good number of the tracks are from Sorceress. We have the title track of Sorceress, we have the Wildflowers, and we also have Era. So really there's only 3 tracks from the new album on there. And that's really kind of to be expected with Opeth. I know with Opeth at this point in their discography, whenever they're doing live sets, they're always kind of doing a little bit more of a deep dive into their older material. And in some ways this is great because I wasn't a huge fan of Sorceress. I did love Era, and Sorceress was kind of fun. And so I'm glad that they were able to kind of bring those tracks to life. I do wish that they incorporated like Strange Brew or maybe 1 or 2 of the other ones, like maybe even Sorceress 2, but I'm not going to complain with the lack of Sorceress material on here. As I mentioned, Sorceress isn't necessarily my favorite album from theirs. I am also very glad to see some of the tracks that normally wouldn't be showcased, because within an Opeth live compilation, there's going to be the standout tracks, the ones that come time and time again, and they are still here. We have Demon of the Fall and Ghost of Perdition. I will say though, those 2 tracks follow up one another. That's the 2nd and 3rd track off of this disc, and at this point in the band's career, you can kind of feel the energy not being up to the point where they need to capture those types of songs. More so with Demon of the Fall. Demon of the Fall has this like in the studio, and when they produce it live within the Roundhouse tapes, you definitely feel that energy that's captured within the song. But here, they do pull a little bit of like late years Yes, where the song is slowed down just slightly to kind of meet the demands of the band. And I don't know if this really works to its advantage, and it does bring a little bit down of the enjoyment factor. And the other thing that I will bring to Flourishing is Michael's vocal work. Whenever he's tasked with growling, it doesn't really match what's found. It's reminding me of like a strained growl. It's a lot more you know, guttural. It's not quite as energetic or bombastic or brutal as it was, and it's no wonder why the band, and Michael in particular, have done away with the growls because of the reproduction of them in live shows. Now luckily it's only found within Ghost of Perdition, Demon of the Fall, and Heir Apparent, and luckily, like, I'm very pleased to find Heir Apparent on this, and the fact that it followed Cusp of Eternity, because Cusp of Eternity, coming from my own personal favorite Opeth album, I feel like they led it with the single from the album, which is fine. I mean, they did the same thing for The Devil's Orchard from Heritage, and again, Heritage is probably my least favorite album of theirs, so leading with the single makes sense in that sense. But Heir Apparent does a great job of utilizing Michael's growls now. It feels a lot more utilized and honed properly as well. Like, it brings in this off-kilter, not quite right aspect of the song. And Heir Apparent from Watershed. Watershed, again, being one of my favorite outputs from the band. You don't really hear a lot of Watershed just because of it was produced right after the Roundhouse tapes and just before they went full on progressive rock, hard rock. So it's kind of lost to the wayside outside of maybe their 10th anniversary or 20th anniversary live DVD. And then they only really played one of my least favorite tracks off of that one. So I'm glad to see the Heir Apparent was there. Another highlight, and something that's found on all Opeth material, is the banter between Michael and the audience. And it's just on point now. I love the going back and forth, Michael completely calling out the weather and being like, it's so cold, it's really breezy, thank you guys so much for coming out, even though it's like freezing cold out, it's very nipply. I really enjoyed that banter, and I also really enjoyed his Freebird call out. So overall, I'm not actually all that disappointed with this, and after the Royal Albert Hall, I think it was? Yeah, the one there, live at the Royal Albert Hall. After that one, I felt like I was kind of done with live DVDs for the band, but this one did surprise me. I like the selection of songs that I had already mentioned. In My Time of Need, From Damnation, and Deliverance. Deliverance's performance really took the show for me, and I'm glad that they ended on this this note. It was a well-rounded plethora of songs, a good smattering of new and old material. As I already mentioned, some of the older material does feel a little bit rusty on their hands, but they were still able to really noodle away, and some of those instrumental and clean parts within Ghost of Perdition really took the cake, and I really found myself really kind of grooving along with the feels of it as well. Overall, this was a fantastic time. This is one that I would absolutely pick up in physical format without hesitation, and just really enjoying your time with a true loved band, especially with bands that are putting out more and more live discs that don't quite measure up. I am glad that a band at this point in their career is still pumping out some really solid live material without all the flashy glam things. It's just the band on a stage having fun. And that's about it, really, for Garden of the Titans, Opeth live at Red Rocks Amphitheatre. What did you guys think about this? Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.